Hi, I'm Kila.
And I'm Ashley.
And we met on TikTok when our stories collided.
After we discussed our crazy, people wanted to tell us they're crazy.
So join us as we unpack a whole lot of crazy.
And we named this podcast after the one thing we definitely have in common, raising our mamas.
So welcome to Raising Barbara Jean and Wanda.
Warning, following episode is intended for mature audiences only. It contains graphic descriptions, adult dialogue, and strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
We talk about dramatic shit.
Hey, my name is Brian Nail, and I'm a mortgage loan officer with Primis Bank. I just want to say how much I truly enjoy being a part of Spread the Positive Network. It's an incredible mission that brings so much positivity to our community. It's been a real pleasure to be involved. Now, when it comes to financing a home, there are a lot of options. And in a market like today's, having the guidance of a trusted local professional can make all the difference. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home, second home, an investment property, or explore refinancing options, I'd love the opportunity to earn your trust and help guide you through the process. If I can help you nail your mortgage, give me a call at 615-243-3976 or visit nailyourmortgage.com.
So I was saying I cried on the way up here, but I didn't. But my pool collapsed. My above ground pool collapsed on Sunday, and I wanted to cry so bad, but the Prozac could not let me. I was like this on the deck. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, my husband's not going to take me serious if I don't cry. So anyways.
Did you throw some water on your face?
Oh, but I did ask him for a hug, and he was like, whoa, it must be serious because I'm not a hugger. So, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't feel like the huggy type.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm very much a cactus. Like, just don't touch me. And my little babies are Velcro. And so that's been a very big adjustment. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to introduce. Can you tell them the organization that you're with and your name, because I can't remember what he said again.
That's okay. I can't either.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So just tell us what you do and who you work for.
My name is Stacee Reed. I'm the Director of Innovation for the National Association for Children of Addiction, what we call NACoA.
Amazing. And I am insulted that they haven't asked me to be president, but that's okay because I think it's coming and that's fine.
That's why we're here.
Exactly. So I could not miss this if I would have drugged my kids here if I would have had to, just because I really wanted to meet you, because a lot of people that listen to our podcast or watch our podcast can really relate to this. And I'm all about some therapy, even though I feel like I've, done it myself and stuff. But obviously I deal with it with humor and I can't stop. I've tried. It just keeps coming.
So sometimes the humor can be therapeutic. So it's okay. Yeah. We all deal with it in our own ways.
Yes. And I literally can't. Like, if you said, tell me the saddest, I would make it into a joke because I just couldn't be serious. And so we'll dig into that later. And I'll lay you on the couch.
That's another episode.
So what made you go toward this?
So I started out I've always worked with children and families, started out in mental health, and then started doing child abuse investigations. And realized that I wanted to make a.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
There you go.
What the hell? That I wanted to make a different difference. Like, I wanted to impact more children. Because if you're just one person, you can impact a small amount. But if you can train other people and get awareness out there, then you can maybe impact thousands or all children.
Yes.
So that was my plan.
Yeah.
So now I train across the country and raise awareness. And NACoA has been around for 42 years.
I was just about to ask, how long? 42 years?
42 years. It started out just focused on alcohol and the impacts to children and families. And then obviously we know that it's not just alcohol impacting children and families. It is
addiction.
Everything. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. My dad is sober. He's been sober for 31 years. So.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
They did have NA back then, but it wasn't as, everything was alcohol, based or whatever, but it's all the same. I know it's all the same concept, but yeah, you're right. It was at the beginning, it was all based around alcohol until they realized that it's just everywhere. So
it is.
And how long have you worked for them?
So I have been in the space for the last 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Working with NACoA the last couple years.
That's gotcha.
So yeah.
I'm so interested. I've got to take a second to think about because I got some questions I want to ask you. But one of them. Okay, this is like I'm gonna rip it right off the top. Like, do you think that addiction is a choice or a disease? What is your take on that?
So we do follow the medical model. So I don't think people wake up and say, I'm going to be a crappy parent today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people want to use. I think there are reasons people use, whether it's genetics or trauma or their environment.
A mix of all.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you stir all that stuff up and you have a really good addiction.
Right.
But I also don't think that people want to stay there. I think addiction is really powerful.
Mhm.
When people say, well, man, they chose their drug over or their addiction over their children, I think that has to tell you how powerful addiction is because nobody does that.
Right.
Nobody wants to be a crappy parent. Sometimes things happen and addiction takes over. But there's help too.
Right.
So people just have to be ready and wanting to do that.
And I think that you saying that nobody wakes up to be a crappy parent, I think that needs to be really put into the kid's head because as a child of an addict, I kept thinking I could fix it, or if I'm good, if I stay out of the way, if I make her life easier. And I thought she was making that choice. Like she's, oh, well, she just, it didn't work yesterday that I came home and I was good and I got a good grade because she still got high today. So no one told me that like, this is not your fault and you have nothing to do. You can't change this. And she does not want to be this way. Like, I didn't know that. I literally thought like, well, she chooses it every day. How are you choosing that over me? Like, how are you choosing that over? So I think the children need to be told that too. Like, they don't want this. This is not what they like. Oh, I want to grow up and be a heroin addict. So I think children really need that like reiterated to them because no one ever told me that. I thought
Absolutely.
like, I could take the burdens away and make her want to be sober, or when she didn't, I was just like, I don't understand how she keeps choosing that over us. And she was just, it was life or death, sometimes. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So that is the premise of NACoA. We want children to know that they didn't cause it. It's not their fault. They can't hear it. They can't control it. We call them the 7 C's. And what we want to do is make sure that children whose brains aren't developed, like yours and mine or any adults, they really truly understand the simpleness of it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And they don't. I mean, there was one family, I was actually the first removal I did of 5 children when I was with child welfare. And the teenager was like, thank you, because this is horrible. And so just to hear somebody say that, like, thank you for rescuing me or changing things. But then I heard from him a couple months later saying, my mom actually got help.
Mhm.
And thank you for that too. So it's possible that, children get some pieces of it, but they're also looking at it through the lens of their underdeveloped or,
Right.
a 10-year-old's brain or a
Right.
15-year-old's brain. They don't think like we do. They
Right.
can't.
Right.
So you're right. I love that you think that way, that we need to get that message out because you're right.
Yeah, because I never, just sitting here talking to you, never even, like, remembering as a child, I never even thought, like, she didn't choose this. This is just, like, she wasn't saying, this or my kid. She was, it was.
Right.
So that really does need to be put out there because I'm 43 and that really hit me hard that you said that because it's true. And no one ever told me that. No one ever told me that. No one ever said, this is not your fault and you can't change this. Like, no matter how much good behavior or bad behavior, it's not going to change this. This is on your mom and she's not choosing to live this way. So that's actually very monumental to me. What do you think the biggest misconception about children that come from addiction? Like, what is the misconception that everybody has?
That's easy for me. That they're not affected.
Mm-hmm.
That they'll grow out of it, that they won't remember, that they'll be fine. And they might be, absolutely might be, but they might not.
Right.
And the chances are that they might not.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that chance. So we need to do things different. If we don't heal children or help children heal, then in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they're going to be the adults that you and I are now talking about on your show.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that. If
Right.
we know that that's a possibility, why are we not addressing it
Yes.
now?
Yes. Because the patterns are going to repeat if no one breaks the patterns.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
no one's telling these kids that like this can be broken. You don't have to do that. Then it's just going to continue to.
And we know that.
Mhm.
The research shows us that, but we've all seen it, whether it's child welfare, law enforcement, or teachers, or yourself and a family. We've all seen it, but yet we just hope and pray that,
Yeah.
man, I hope that's going to work out okay.
Right. And no, and they don't. It's not talked about. Like,
No, not enough.
and honestly, like they need to have school assemblies once a year where they just, go out and tell even like the smaller kids, we can break it down, but those kids need to hear that. Even if there's kids in there that is not going to be affected by it, someone in that audience might get something from that. And that it needs to be, especially in the rural areas where, drugs are really bad. And like where my hometown is, a lot of children are being raised by other family members. I just adopted they're my second cousins. Well, I've had them for 4 years, but we adopted 2 years ago and from drugs or whatever. So it's all over down there and nobody talks about it. Like we just don't. And I get it's one of those subjects that's like nobody wants to talk about it, but it needs to be talked about.
Well, if we don't talk about it now, we'll be talking about it in a totally different context down the road.
Yeah.
And then we should feel really bad about it.
Yeah.
So maybe we take a step back and figure out how to talk to kids and learn how to talk to them and what to say, what not to say, what language to use, what language not to use. And we actually have the conversation. It would be no different than maybe sex education or condoms and birth control. Substance use is one of the things that they're dealing with growing up, especially with social media.
Yes.
It's easily accessible.
Mhm.
You can get it on the internet.
Mhm.
So why are we not protecting them now?
Mhm.
I feel like we're waiting for oh crap moments,
Yes.
whether it's with the parents or with the child. And I don't want to wait for a crisis anymore.
Right. And really, it could be, I feel like it can be prevented some just by let's talk about it and let's get it out there. And
Let's at least try.
exactly. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing positive comes.
Right.
Nothing's coming anyway. So here we are.
Right.
How do you think adult children of addicts, how does it affect their relationships? Or was it typically like, how does that? I feel like we're not trusting as much, or we put too much trust into one human.
I think it can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think it depends on so many different factors, but I think a lot of what we see is exactly what you said. They're throwing themselves into situations that feel normal to them
Right.
because it's normal to our brain, but the patterns are not healthy for us.
It's like addicted to chaos.
Yeah, because our brains want comfortable. Like comfortable doesn't always mean it's good for us.
Right.
But we need to retrain our brains to do something different and to know that we can do something different. We can respond differently. We can be in different relationships. But it's not easy sometimes.
Yeah. Because I feel like I'm like so healed but then like I took the babies because I was bored because my older kids were getting out of the house and me and my husband were about to be empty nesters. And when the call came, obviously, because I'm thinking there's 2 babies that need me. I'm going to take them, not thinking that this could be permanent and this could be for the rest of your life. And that never crossed my mind. It was just immediately. And my husband's going, no. And I'm like, no, I already made the decision. Like, because
Here they are.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I'm saving them from going through what I've had to go through. So if I can change anybody, I want to do it. But then I got them and it was not easy. It was very hard. And then I had to deal with things that I have not dealt with that I thought I had dealt with. And I'm still dealing with like literally like reactions. I'm super reactive and like I feel like I'm on like fight or flight. If something falls, I'm like, and I have 2 little ones now. So that's, all the time. And I'm like, I need to work on that because I thought that was good until, it's not.
So if you think about trauma and the things we go through, like grief is an easy thing to think about. We've all lost something and doesn't impact us all the same, but and it doesn't ever go away. You don't ever like wake up and think, oh, wow, losing my mom, I'm over that, right? Grief is always there, but sometimes it feels like a little pebble in your pocket and you know it's there and it feels okay today. And other days you're like, oh my gosh, what is that weight in my pocket just ripping my pants off? You know, like it's heavy, it's cumbersome, I trip over it, it's stopping me in my tracks. Like it's heavy. So, and you don't know what's going to trigger the little or the big, but it's always with you. And some days it's fine and some days it's not. And I feel like that's part of the effects of addiction too. Some days you deal really well with it and some days you're like, what the heck happened?
Right.
And it can be triggered by anything.
Yeah.
So in as time goes by, we learn to control how big the rock is in our pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
But then there are things that come up that, like you said, you know, things falling that just trigger you.
Yes.
It should lessen
Right.
over time if you address it. If you notice things happening and you're addressing it and you're thinking about it and you're working through it, it should get less over time. But then something else will happen and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to work through that too.
Yes. I think I need a routine or a way to like cope with those things. I'm self doing it myself on like Google and stuff. So I do need to get, because I want to be calmer and I want to be, all my nervous system regulated because I don't want to die early because I'm old, because my heart's old because I've worried, to death. But I do need to come up with different ways to cope because I did not. I feel like I drug my mom's addiction, of course, all childhood and then into adulthood and then until I met my husband. And then a couple of years into our, I feel like it defined me. Like that's just who I was. I was a child of an addict. And I never done anything. I mean, I obviously did the things that like kids did. I tried pot or drank or whatever, but I never, thank God, nothing grabbed a hold of me. But when I got with my husband, I just had like a breakdown one day and like nothing, I don't even think anything happened. But I think it was because he allowed me to be me and I didn't have like, figure this out, figure everything out by yourself. He was like, no, I'll take the load. It's cool because he's more responsible and I'm not. So I think he just allowed me to like let it go. And I feel like I had like almost a come to Jesus on the front porch one night. Like, I'm going to be okay. And this is not define me. Like, you have to get over this and stop thinking like, well, you're just a child of an addict. And I always felt like I was like going to be doomed because that's just what I always saw was doom. It was just doom. And then one day I was like, something happened and I was like, no, you're going to be okay. Actually, you're going to be better than okay. And I am. So.
And I think that's the choice. Like we have the choice as humans to be okay or not. And we all go through stuff and some more than others. But I think how we react and how we respond matters. And that to me is the choice. Like you can't change your environment that you grew up in. You can't change your childhood. You can't change your parents. You can't change, your relatives and that kind of thing. But we can change how we respond to things and how we want to respond. And we can change. Like that's our choice, whether we want to or not. And some people don't. And some people like you do. And that's the choice that we have. And I think that's the choice that I want to see that kids see and understand is that you don't have to follow in anybody's footsteps. You're not doomed, that there's hope because.
And someone needs to tell them that. Like someone needs to tell them that because as a little kid, believe you me, when any kind of positivity came about in school or whatever, I grasped that stuff. That helped me daily think cannot be forever. Like there is hope. Like yes, that needs to be instilled in these children. And I think it's being left out. And also I think gratitude and also the way, like I can say for like my mom, because we were raised like fair and stuff like that. She had a super negative outlook on life. So I, of course, picked that up and thought everybody thought they were better than us. And like, they just looked down their nose at us and they weren't, they were just normal. Most people, they were just normal people just living their life and have no idea what's going on. But she, instilled that in us. So I carried that into adulthood and I was like, everyone thinks. And then I realized one day, like, they don't know if I have $1 million or if I have nothing. They don't care. They're just living their life. And so that's another thing is to like, I think needs to get out there to children is like, just because you're raised with this way of thinking doesn't mean it's right. And it, sometimes we have to be objective and say, or what if, you know what I mean? Because I thought everything she said was holier than, I thought it was, basically in the Bible because she was my mom, you know what I mean? So it never occurred to me that there could be another option or something else.
Well, we trust that our parents, I think, know everything, and they don't. I do as a parent, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, you too,
of course.
And if people could just be like us.
Right.
But like as we get older, I hope we get wiser and we understand that we can learn from each other and we can grow. And I don't know if kids have that ability to really see sometimes. So you're right. I think telling them and showing them that there is a lot out there and there's hope for them and opportunities and all of that.
And humanizing their parents because
yes,
kids just think their parents know it all. And we're doing this life for the first time too. That was another thing that was kind of like, that's kind of eye-opening that I never really thought about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just assume they know it. Just like doctors, I always thought if you go to the doctor and they say something, then it's obviously that's what it is. And then I get to become an adult and I'm like, oh no, they're human too. And sometimes they make errors and they're not always, So I don't know if that would help the children, but that was something that opened my eyes one time was like, it was her first time too. So, and she brings all of her insecurities, all of her trauma, all of her everything into parenting us. And I just did not, of course I didn't think of that as a kid, I just thought she has the choice and she chooses. And it's like, now that I'm older, I'm like, oh no, there's so many layers to that.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
Well, I think we have a lot of opportunity to educate children. I think we just have to be open to the conversation and then open to the questions that come after. And I think that's where a lot of people don't want to do that. And so bring in people that want to do it and are experienced doing it and educated around it. And because there are ways to talk to children and there are ways not to talk to children.
Right.
We don't want to re-traumatize children. We don't want them to relive the trauma or, things that would be upsetting, but we want them to understand it in real terms, like very simple, real terms.
Well, can you give me some tips? Because I do hair. So I do see kids and specifically more like teenagers that, get in my chair. And if I already know, whatever, I don't necessarily, go, I know you're a child of an addict, but I'd let you know that I'm a kindred spirit and, I see you. I do try to do that. But what if I, tell me, because I may be saying the wrong things or I may be using words that are.
So I think the first thing you're already doing it. You're opening yourself up. You're a safe person. You're a safe place. You're a kindred spirit. You're kind. You're open. You listen. I think those are the first things that I would say kids gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And you're also in a spot where you're doing their hair. You're not doing therapy. They're not coming to you to spill their guts or tell on their mom or dad. They're just having a conversation.
Right.
And so I think that's the places to start. And then just being really careful about how we frame things about their parents or their loved ones or those kinds of things. So we usually say that to use person first language. So you say they're the person with an addiction. Like I would be a person with ADHD or a person with diabetes or person with cancer. We don't say a cancer person.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So using person first language and just trying to look at, I guess it's softening the language. So we usually say addiction. Kids don't understand substance use disorder.
Right.
So addiction is fine. Substance use is fine. Drug use is usually fine. They get those words. And then their parents are usually people that have an addiction, a person with a problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's just softening some of the language just because they are their parents or their aunt and uncle or their brother or sister. And
that's right.
We should talk about them in a way that we would talk about anybody.
Exactly. As if they have cancer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you're right. Because as a child, it was so taboo, and like I would have never told
Right.
teacher or anything, or anybody of authority that my mom was an addict, because well, I didn't know what that was going to do. Are they going to take me away or whatever? But you're right. We should treat them as what they are, humans with issues. We all do. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if I saw you walking into a cancer treatment center with your child or teenager or just yourself, I would probably bring you over a casserole and I
Right.
would text you like, do you need anything?
Mhm.
Like, and I would want to be there, and it would be an open conversation, and I would make myself available, and I would tell the church group that maybe we need to, put a meal train together. But if I saw you going into a substance use treatment center, I'm not likely to call you
Right.
or text you. I might text you, but it'd be a different text.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how's it going? It might be,
Yes.
it's not going to,
It's so taboo. Like,
and I'm not bringing you a casserole.
right.
And I'm not probably spreading it around church to get people like banded
right.
together.
I was gonna say, you're probably calling your friend like, guess who I saw? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we feel like this is a choice, and like most people who don't have anything, well, and I even include myself sometimes, I think of like people with cancer, like, well, they didn't mean to get that. And it's like, well, addictions really is the same way.
The same thing.
No one, I mean, just because you made the conscious decision to do that drug, you didn't do it thinking there's a good chance I'm going to come at it. Everybody thinks they can beat it. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks but this isn't going to grab a hold of me. So yeah, you're right. And that needs to be trained too, because we look at addicts like, well, they made that choice. But I mean, cancer, if you went back, if you really dug back, like, well, yeah, you probably made the choice that might have started the cancer because of something you ate, or, I mean, not that you consciously did. I'm just saying that
I don't we do that with cancer.
Right. We don't shame people for getting cancer, but we do shame people for being an addict. And
It's not a moral failing.
right.
It's a disease, and we need to make people feel like it's a disease so they feel okay going into a treatment center or a detox or a 12-step program, because it's that important. People die of cancer. People die from substance use and addiction. And we can prevent both on some level, or we can treat both on some level too.
Right.
So why don't we?
Yeah.
And part of it is that the stigma is still so negative and huge around it that it is taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, so if a child doesn't want to talk to you, it's because they're embarrassed or shameful,
Right.
or they think it's their fault.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they're not going to feel the same if their dad has cancer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because,
Sure.
oh, the poor dad has
Right.
cancer. Oh, the poor dad also has an addiction. And they're still the same person.
Mm-hmm. And even when people, I think, have good intentions,
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're like, ugh, yikes, I don't want to. But I think a lot of times you need to have those uncomfortable conversations, because like you said, the child feels like, well, I don't, this is embarrassing because my parent chose to be whatever. And that, it's just not. And I don't know. And what, like, do you know like statistics on like a child from an addict becoming an addict? Is it like, do you know anything, like, is it like 50%? Is there like a 50% chance of?
So there's adverse childhood experiences. Kaiser did a study years ago, and the study was around adverse childhood experiences. It didn't start out that way, but that's what it ended up being. And so there's a scale that people can take, like a quiz that people can take, and then you get it's score, right?
Right.
So a 1 would mean you had one adverse childhood experience, and you're less likely to have heart problems with a 1, or you're less likely to have substance use problems with a 1. But then when you look at a 6, that's different. It increases exponentially, especially when the more that you have. So if you look at trauma, and the more trauma you have, the more issues you will probably have in adulthood if you don't also build resilience. So it's not a if this, then 100% this. It's if this, you have an increased likelihood.
Yes.
But we can also continue to fill their bucket along the way of resilience and skills and feel good about yourself and building self-worth and those kinds of things to decrease health risks and substance use risks and those kinds of things in the future. So we can't look at somebody and say, your dad was incarcerated, your mom was abusive, your parents were neglectful, you didn't have food, you were homeless. Like, you have a very high ACE score.
Right.
So you're hopeless. That's not the case, because we can still do things about that. We can
Right. It's
build,
over.
no, we can build them up, and we can,
Yeah.
we can push the scale the other direction, and we need to.
Yes.
And it's important.
Yes.
So yes, children that grow up in homes where there is substance use are more likely than children who don't grow up in those homes to also have substance use problems. But I don't even like talking about it like that, because the but is that we can still help those children and decrease that chance in the future. And that's what we should focus on.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, for sure.
Prevention and intervention and skills, and just building children up and building their resilience along the way.
That's 100%. What advice would you give to a parent that's sober but is raising a child that, like, the other parent is not sober, on how to deal with that and things that they shouldn't do? Because of course my mom was not sober, my dad was sober, but my mom still like cussed him, and he even cussed her even though he was sober. Like, so, and I think that's another thing. Like, if we're going off what we have lived through and we repeat those, then yeah, it's not good. So
Yeah.
I wish someone would have told me, like, hey, don't use this, or don't talk about, I don't know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate for children, but what would you say to, like, if a mom had her kids, but the dad was, like, being an addict, and should they talk to their kids about what the dad is doing if the dad's, like, not coming around? Or
So I think every family is different. I'm always a big proponent of honesty, but there's a difference between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Right.
And it depends on, have they seen the other parent in a state that would be not okay?
Right.
Or if they're high or drunk or whatever. But I also think that as parents, we deal with a lot, and we don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah.
So other people can have the answers.
Hey, that's, yeah.
Counselors, therapists, other people going through it. So Al-Anon. So I know on NACoA's website, we have different things about how to talk to children. We've got a toolkit for parents and caregivers. We have a toolkit for children. Those are things that we would want folks to grab onto, and they're downloadable for free, but they're resources that can help, because I can't be there. You can't be there for everybody. So we put them up there so people have at least access to it, and it's helpful. But if not, reach out to somebody to get help.
Does this organization, does it, like, to go along with DCS? Or no, it's like an independent, you would have to find it yourself?
So DCS is child welfare?
Yeah, Department of Children's Services, or like, yeah.
So NACoA is a national and international nonprofit. And so we have a number people can call to get referrals to different places, treatment places. But there's a lot of different things out there to help parents in regards to how to talk to their children or where they can get help. So they can reach out to us, and we can connect them with folks, or we can connect them with an interventionist that can then help them get help in their area. And it really honestly depends on what kind of help they're looking for.
Right. But I would be interested in seeing y'all and, like, DCS or foster, like, partnering. And even if you didn't, like, just put your name out there, because so when I took the babies, I thought I had it figured out. I've already raised 2 kids. I've never done drugs. I've worked. My husband's worked. We've done a good job. Our kids played sports, all the things, that I thought was. And then when we had to go through the parenting classes, but so much of it was redundant. And I was like, I need to know, like, for real, what do I do? Or, like, what, and, like, another thing, they were always like, keep connection with the bio parents. And so I'm like, that just kind of seems, anticlimactic sometimes, because, and then over that, I go and do my own research, and it's like, no, that's not always true. And I'm like,
Sure.
I'm taking this stuff as, y'all have really run this through all these studies, and y'all have, like, the facts, or, statistically, and some of it was, like, not. And they had, I asked our worker, like, probably month 2, I said, do y'all have counseling for those of us? And she was like, no, we have a support group on Thursdays in Franklin. And I was like, well, I don't have a babysitter. And I'm like, that's bizarre to me that you would release 2 children to me, even though I look like I've got it together. I am a hot mess over here. And y'all are like, yeah, we don't have any counseling. And I'm like, how is that not? So that's what I was going to say is like, it would be amazing to see like some kind of organization like you partner with DCS that offers counseling. And for us that I've been through it, and now I'm raising children that have also been through it. And I on a different level want to get some changes made to the DCS, foster, all that, because that was a nightmare. And
Yes.
there were no resources for us. No, I mean, I only know of one supposed group that meets on Thursdays, and I don't even know, like, that was it.
So I am previous child welfare, have done a lot of investigations, a lot of removals, a lot of not removals.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that the child welfare system is not a perfect system. It's like anything else.
Yes.
They're under-resourced and understaffed, and it's stressful, and it's a hard position to be in.
Yes.
But I also, on the other hand, don't disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely, I think one of the big things is we can collaborate differently.
Yeah.
As child welfare, we can collaborate with different, community supports and other service providers and those kinds of things, because the last thing we want to see happen is you not feel supported, feel like you can't do it. And then now we have 2 children who are in another situation where we have to find a placement,
Right.
or we have to figure something out in a crisis.
Yes.
So I don't disagree. So we do a lot of work with child welfare agencies across the nation, but we don't do it with everybody. We do it with the ones that want the help and that want that partnership. And unfortunately, it's not everybody. We do a lot with child welfare, law enforcement, educators, like in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. There's a lot of things that we can help them implement and help them to understand that they need to want to make a difference and to do things different. And we're human and we're busy. And so there's pluses and minuses. I mean, as you know.
And what I'm even saying may not even amount to hill beans, but I wonder what we would need to do just to get y'all's business card put inside the folder that they get when they get the children. You know what I mean? Like, even if, like, it's totally up to the person who, whatever, to reach out, because obviously it would be there. But I would have jumped on that so fast, because I was like, oh gosh, I am so overwhelmed. And all of the trauma that I've dealt with is now coming back up. And I'm like, I do not know what I'm doing. And the lady was like, yeah, I don't really know. And I'm like, so y'all just hand kids to people who say they can do it. I mean, the whole time I've never done a drug test. Like, they never drug tested me. What if I was, doing drugs? Like, they literally looked at me, looked at my home, looked at and said, like, you're good. And I'm like, I could have been anything. Like, also, like, that was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and like I said, they just never gave me any kind of resources to, like, help me figure out how to navigate this. And statistically, I think most kids that are going to be removed from a home are going to be sent to someone who is a child of an addict. Like, maybe 50%. I don't know what the statistics are there, but, like, more than likely, that's not going to be the first person in the family that's had.
So that's part of the problem when we're doing placements as child welfare. And I don't mean we as NACoA, but like when I previously did child welfare, depending on which state you're in, they all have different requirements. The first state I worked in, you had to do a drug test. Granted, that was 20 years ago or longer. So I don't know if they're doing that still now. But a lot of states, you don't have to take a drug test. You have to pass a background check and some other things. So it's not a free-for-all. But then when it comes to family, we want to place with kin. We want to place with family because they do better there. And there's that the familial connection. And we know that children do best when they're with their kin. But it's generational.
That's what I was about to say.
And so we have to be really careful because we don't
want them there.
Yeah.
Because you are potentially also putting them into to the same kind of lane that they were taken out of, because it is generational. Even though if they're not addicts, they still, so that there's a fine line there.
Yeah, we have to be careful.
Yeah.
But it's hard because there's not enough foster homes, and not every foster home is great, although the majority of them are. But
I can tell you, just becoming a foster parent, and I was a kinship foster, so it wasn't even the actual, like, I didn't have to do the 12 weeks. I think I had to do 8 weeks. They are treated, it's bizarre. There were so many times that we were treated like we were the villains, and I was like, I'm so not that I need y'all to put me on a pedestal and like give me a medal every time we have a child family team meeting, but how did this flip around to me and my husband are the bad guys? Like, that was so bizarre. And you may not have the answer for this, and maybe I need to go further, but like, how could we make changes like on a legislation like level? Like, how could we? Because there's got to be money that can be used, and that to give more careers so these people are not, because I know they have to check boxes. You know what I mean? I know that's their job. The more boxes you check, the better. I mean, I know that I understand that, and I know that they don't go into this profession to make money. Right. They go to try to help the kid, but then it becomes, oh my gosh, I have to check these boxes, because if I get too involved, then I'm spending too much time on this case and I'm neglecting this case. And like, there has to be a way that the government can fund more or something, because what do we do? Like,
so I think, honestly,
storm the Capitol. That's what we're doing tomorrow.
I probably would wait on that one. Yeah, just let's.
Is it going to rain?
Totally. We're going to need more. Yeah. So I think we need to raise awareness. I think that in every community,
always balance. Always do balance.
I'm trying to stir away from violence.
I'm like, you hold them up and you say.
I love it. I love your passion. Yes. But maybe let's wait for that passion just a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Let's raise some awareness, and let's make every single person in every community understand the impacts that addiction has on children, and also understand that there's hope, and that there's help, and that there's services out there for them that can help. And maybe that's where we need to start. So like, let's get every business card we have into all the people that you're talking about.
Yes, because in no form or fashion did they ever say like, oh, here's a nonprofit that could help you.
Right.
Like, they were just like, good luck if you have insurance. And I'm like, our insurance doesn't pay for therapy, so I had to pay for it out of pocket. And I'm like, I'm trying to do a good deed, but you know what? I can't afford therapy. But like, that's bizarre. Like, you can give someone kids, but you're just like, good luck. Hope y'all have to do good. And I'm like, oh dear. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone. I'm just an inquisitive person.
Sure.
So, and I love like psychology and things like that. Why am I the way I am? So I did go further, and I did try to look it up, but most people they're just trying to survive. You know what I mean? Like, especially if they're coming from like that, like they're just trying to survive. They don't have time to think about like, how do I remove these traumas, or like, they don't know anything about that.
Well, and once like you have kids in your home, now you don't have time.
Exactly.
So we got to figure some of that out. But I do think that the majority of people, if you haven't been there, if you haven't seen it, you're not aware of it. So you're not making that a priority. And we have to make it comfortable for people to talk about, because even if you are in a family where there is addiction, is it okay to talk to your neighbor about it? Is it okay to talk to your congressman about it? Is it okay to talk to your legislator about it? Because if we don't start screaming it from the rooftops, we're going to be here 5 years from now, 10, 20, 50, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I'm old, and I know I look really young, but I'm old.
I was about to say, like, I don't even know how you have your therapy license.
But yeah, totally. I'm like 20.
Totally smart.
Times a lot. But I feel like we've been talking about this my whole career. And I would like to be able to retire someday and think that we've made a really large difference. And
yes,
I'd love to have it all go away. But if we can make a dent, and I just think there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
But I do think that it's possible. And I think it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I really do. I think so too. Do you get frustrated? Do you ever just go, oh my gosh, like I'm pounding my head against a brick wall, nothing's happening. It's the same.
What time is it today?
Right.
Yes.
Like, because that's what I would feel like. It's like,
but then it's talking to people like you who like
So inspirational and
oh yeah, keep going.
miraculous.
Yep,
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 that's what I was thinking.
exactly. Like you're reading my mind over here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Yeah, totally. I think that is what honestly inspires me and keeps me going. It's your story of hope and your story of even you saying like I laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because that's healing and it's how you cope with stuff. It shows me that you're human and you love kids and you want to make a difference. And so I'll walk out of here thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to think of her tomorrow and I'm going to like get going.
And that's what you said earlier. I cannot change the world, but if I could change one person or whatever, like, yeah, that was full circle. Full circle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it one child, one family, one community at a time.
Yeah.
And do it together because
Yes.
I can do it. Amazing, of course. And you could do it amazing, but together we're like super double amazing.
Yes. And I can get some people together. You know, like I can get them together up. Now, I ain't real good at planning and stuff, but like if I yell loud enough, like, we can make things happen.
Let's do it.
We've got to. And I cannot believe, I know this is, like, you might have to cut this out, but like as a kid, I cannot believe that this is where I'm at right now. Like as a kid that was raised in the trailer parks and government apartments and just total despair and thought, this is going to be my life. I cannot believe that I'm sitting here talking to someone that chose this path for their life to help people that I never thought I was going to come face to face with people like you.
And I have to tell you, that breaks my heart
Yeah,
because I don't want any child
exactly.
ever
That's why we have to do this.
feel that way.
Mhm.
That is not
Yeah.
unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because you should grow up knowing your worth
Yes.
and me knowing my worth and having it feel the same.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Mhm.
oh, yes.
Yes, that's so important. I did that with my older kids and obviously with the little kids too. Yes, you have to know your worth and you have to know that, no, baby, nothing's permanent. You know, everything can change. And I always just tell the kids that sit in my chair, like, keep going. Keep going. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
It's going to be okay. I promise. When you're at the bottom of the bottom and you think that like, oh, this is my life. No, it's not. No, it is not. Tomorrow is a new day and tomorrow's going to be different and it's going to be better. Some days it's going to be worse, but keep going. You have to keep going.
New days, new opportunities.
Yes, for sure. This was a good question. What do you wish every child of an addict could hear? I know we just kind of touched on this, but
So I love your keep going because I think that's super important. And I also think the hope piece is important. I mean, there's not only science behind it, but you're living proof that hope is important. I'm living proof that hope is important. And I think every kid needs to know that there is hope for them, even if their parent doesn't end up in recovery.
right.
There's still hope that their life can be amazing and that they can be the president if they want to be the president or whatever they want to be.
And I want to, I know children are not listening to this, but I want children to know that your story is going to make such a difference. Even like you said, even if it's only for one person, but your story is going to make a difference. And even if they're like, no, yes, your story is going to make a difference, especially because you came, if you've came out of it, you know, all the hardships and your story is going to make a difference. So when you think that, you know, everybody's forgot about me and the world, they haven't. And your story is your story. And that sounds awful, but like my kids say, like, I feel like I don't have a story because I tried so hard to keep them from like trauma and stuff. And I'm like, I would have killed for that. But obviously I was on the opposite end.
Their story is just different.
Yeah. And I just tell them, like, you just don't have trauma with your story. And like, there's not as much, you know, like food stamps and lights getting cut off on your story, but there's still stories. But yeah, especially kids that come from addiction, your story's it's gonna be powerful.
Even if they just helped one person, it's one person.
Yeah.
I hope in my career, I helped at least one person.
Exactly.
And if we all just helped one person, I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
But I do think we're helping more people.
Yeah.
I think your story, my story, all of the people that we're in contact with, I think we're making a difference.
Oh,
but
for sure.
I just want to make a bigger difference.
And I think you are. I think, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be, we're gonna make some.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do
I
like
mean, I can always be the front man because I don't mind like singing. Y'all just tell me what to say because I don't know what I'm saying. But like I can always be the voice because I'm good with that.
I love that.
Um,
We've got a plan moving forward.
yes. Oh, this one is kind of we've talked about it. Is it possible for a parent to truly love their child and still traumatize them? Obviously, yes.
Absolutely.
And like
We
we said,
make mistakes.
yes, and that's not typically their intentions. You know what I mean? Like, as a child, you don't think about that, but
No, and as a child, your brain isn't developed, so the understanding is different, and they can't understand the way we do as adults. It's just not possible.
yeah,
But yes, parents love. I truly believe that when you have children, your life changes, and you love that portion of you, whether you're adopted or what. Like they're yours. Like they're a part of you, and so yes, and we make a lot of mistakes.
yeah. I mean, I was about to say, I'm not even an addict, and I've probably traumatized my children on
Sure.
some level.
That's my first time too,
Right.
just like you.
Exactly. Yes.
And I'm still making mistakes today.
Um, what are some personality traits that make you think, I wonder if they grew up an addict? Do you ever like just talk to someone randomly, like at a airport or on vacation and go, I wonder if,
So I think that there's roles that children and adults play in families when there is addiction. Some children and adults some children will carry those roles into adulthood.
right.
So some kids can be the hero, some kids can be the clown. Some kids learn that perfection takes the pressure off of them or takes the pressure off of the parents. The clown could be that I'm going to, replace everything with funny, kind of like what you were talking about.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of those roles are for a reason. It's protection.
Yes.
And it's just kind of where things fall and what your personality is. So we do see some of that and sometimes a lot of it carried into adulthood. And I do think that it's important for people to look at, is the role that you're playing in adulthood or is it what you were playing as a child, is it impacting your relationship, your trust, your control of things, your perfectionism, how you do things in life? It does impact us.
Right.
And sometimes it can impact us in good ways just because the coping skill is okay. But I think we have to take a look at it. So those are the things that I think people would see
Right.
are those different roles.
Yes. Yeah, that makes total sense. Why do children of addicts often end up in unhealthy relationships?
So I think it goes back to what people are experiencing in childhood. My nephew, his dad always had a BlackBerry. And so the child would always do this, right? Because that's how he saw his dad on the phone. And he saw that. He learned it from his dad. So if I'm learning unhealthy relationships from my parents, I'm not going into the next relationship thinking, oh, I'm going to do that unhealthy thing that I learned. I don't even know at times, right? It goes back to, I'm just modeling what I've been, shown. Right. So I think as adults, what doesn't work for us, we've got to change. And it's possible, but we do carry a lot of stuff, baggage from our childhood with us. But that's everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
And unhealthy relationships can be even in families without addiction. But
do you think children of addiction are more likely to be like fixers?
I mean, we do see that, but it's not all the time.
Okay. So it's not, yeah.
Sometimes they can be avoidant, or sometimes they can be the fixer or the person who I've got to show everybody I'm perfect and it's perfect makeup, it's perfect clothes, it's perfect. I'm going to do the paper perfect. Like sometimes it's the control piece. So we see different things depending on, I think, a lot of different factors.
Exactly. Right. I mean, and that's even like male and female are going to be totally different.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely a fixer and I love a project. Somebody comes in and is like, got a problem. I'm like, I'm your girl. But the moment that they do not help themselves, I'm out.
Oh, that's interesting.
I bounce out because I'm like, I'm not going to do this for you. And that goes with everything. My husband has a dear friend that's elderly and he was in the hospital and then he got out and they were like, oh, you have to contact all this. And I took a banner over there that said like, welcome home, we love you. And I took his meals over there for like 2 or 3 days but then he wasn't doing the things that he was supposed to do. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing this for you. You're, older. And I'm like, I wonder why I exit, like, because I think it's to shield myself from hurt, or my expectations are like so high. And then like reality hits, like, okay, well, that's, it's not.
Could be a healthy boundary.
In some things I do feel like it is.
Yeah.
I actually do think it's a healthy boundary, but like I've just been noticing lately that that is my boundary. If you can't help, if you're not helping yourself, I'm not, because so many times have I stuck my head, tried to help people, and it just like falls back, and I'm like, so I think that is one way I've just said, nope, this is the line, and once you cross it, I'm done, because
I actually like that boundary. I mean, honestly, because I can see if you go farther and you keep doing stuff, like that to me would be more of a problem than you being like, you're not doing the work, so take a step back.
Right.
And it does protect you, but it also, like, why waste your time?
Right, because I feel like I'm enabling them, like I'm doing the things that they could be doing, and I feel like I had to do the work and walk the walk for myself. No one done that for me, and so you have to do the same. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with you saying, like, I don't know how to do XYZ. We'll figure it out. But
Sure.
the moment that you're like, nope, not gonna, then I'm like, okay, bye. I'm not standing here and begging you, and you make that decision. So, I feel like I wish I would have had obviously more of that when I was a kid, because obviously I was a kid and I didn't have boundaries. But that is one good thing that I've came from as an adult. So I'm not going to sit and waste time on someone that, my brother is an active addiction, and we only talk to him when he's sober. Like, he'll start reaching out to us, and it's the most wonderful time. Like, we talk about our childhood, and I'm 7 years younger, so I don't have as many memories, but like, I see him as like such a pillar. And even though comparatively his life is in the trenches compared, I've always just seen him as like a pillar. And when he gets sober, I'm like gravitate toward him. And my mom has passed away, so I think that also like has to do with, he's like her, because they were, buddy and all the things. But I don't know. But with him, same thing. Like, once he falls off, I'm like, I back up, and I can't, because so many times we have tried to do it for him, and it just does not work. And and I'm fearful that he's gonna pass away, and I'm not gonna get that last. But there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I mean? So I try to, when I think about him, I try to just reach out. And I don't know if this is healthy or not, but when I think about him, I try to reach out and say, hey, I love you, praying for you, because it helps my conscience like know that I did. But is that just selfish? Or
I think everybody's different. I don't know your whole story, but I feel like I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would at least want them to know that you're loved, you're cared for.
Yes.
We pray for you, those kinds of things, and not, here's $100, I feel bad. So I think we have to find those ways where we're not enabling, but we are showing people that we're here.
Yeah.
Like, we're the foundation.
Right.
We're not moving anywhere. We're here, and we're always here. But I also think it's really healthy to have boundaries. Like, I'm not going to give you money. You can't come around here.
Right.
If that's,
Yes.
what people decide. But I do think that there's healthy ways to do it.
Yeah.
But I do love that. I love that you tell me you pray for him. Like, that to me is, man, that's the least and the most thing that we should be doing, to just giving people that gift.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether they accept it or not.
I always, like, when I send it, I'm like, is that selfish? Because I feel like I'm doing it for me. But like, I do want to reiterate to him, like, you are so loved.
Yeah.
And at any time, this whole support system could come together. We're waiting on you or whatever. But me and my dad were talking about that, because my dad's been sober for 31 years and he owns a recovery house.
Awesome.
He is more cold, and I think it's because he's desensitized. He's around it all day, every day. But he gets a lot of people from like prison, and he brought a guy to my house a couple months ago, and face fully tatted, like from prison. And I know that that's like stereotypical, but I'm like, Dad, I have little kids, I didn't warn them. I didn't know. And then the guy came in and he's like, I think he had done like 30 years. I don't think it was all together, but, and I was like, do you have kids? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, I said, oh, really? Well, how old are they? And he was telling me, and I was like, are you in contact with them? And he was like, not really. They, they're living their life. And I said, but remind them that you love them. And he was like, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, no, I know that you feel like you do not fit in their life, and you may not, and that's okay. But you need to remind them, if it's daily, if it's weekly, that you love them, you're proud of them, or whatever. I said, grown people need to hear that too.
Yeah.
And my dad said, because my dad gets really pissy with me because I don't answer the phone, because I don't like talking on the phone. So I'll go 3, 4, 5 days and not answer the phone. And then he gets pissy. He's like, I'm not going to call you again. And I'm like, well, you're being childish, because I have like 150 tabs open in my brain at all times. And it's not a personal attack that I didn't answer my phone. It's just life, you know. Life,
I even understand it. Yeah.
I'm like, you get offended by this, but it is not a personal attack. I'm just, first of all, I like to talk on the phone. Second of all, I'm busy and I don't want to talk on the phone. But I told the guy, so when I told the guy that, my dad said, because I told him, I said, you keep showing up. You keep showing up. Because I don't know if this is right or wrong, but you're the one in the wrong, honey, not them. So even though it makes you feel insecure, that's part of it, and you got to grow through that. But you need to remind them, because you are the parent, that you love them, even if they're doctors, lawyers, and you know you don't even have a 2nd grade education. They still need to hear, and you still need to show up, because you can, because you're not in prison. So to me, that is more than 50% is the effort. You know what I mean? And it's really important. Even like I said, even if they don't open the message, I feel like you need to still put it out there.
I think just as parents, I think it's important. I mean, I'm sure that there's enabling that could happen along the way, but
Right.
I do think, like, I pray for you and I love you and I'm here. I think those are really good messages to send.
Mhm.
Even if I'm a parent getting out of prison, I still think that those are still messages that we can send. They might not want to have you in your life or in their life, but we can still send those messages.
Do you think if the child said, like, this is a boundary, I don't want you, any kind of communication, do you think the person should still send those, or should they back off? And
Oh man. I can make a really good case both directions
Yeah.
for that.
yeah,
I think it just depends. I mean, obviously I wouldn't say that if there's abuse or
harassment, or
sure.
yeah, if
Or,
it's going,
really unhealthy things, which may or may not be happening. But I don't know. I just look at being a parent and being a child of a parent. You know what I mean? But I would want to know that. But I guess if there's been a lot of things that happened, I'd want to be respectful too.
yeah.
I mean, because we do cause harmful things to, like, we make mistakes.
Oh, yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
impacts them.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd also want to be able to say I'm sorry and I love you. And those are tough questions. I think everything is so individualized that you almost kind of got to think of it, each situation differently. But yeah, walk the line carefully, because we don't want to re-traumatize, but we also don't want to send a different message.
Right. And sometimes people say, don't contact me, but they really mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have to put this up because I'm protecting myself. They really mean, like, I just can't deal with this right now. So I guess that is a person to person
Yeah.
thing. So this may be bizarre too, but like turning 18 and they get released into the wild, say they're going to college, what would you suggest them to do to be successful going forward? If they've had no counseling, they've had, maybe they've kept this, it's a secret, or, whatever, like, what do you suggest? Are there, I mean, obviously, like, get a counselor.
I was just going to say that'd be the first thing I'd recommend is find some support, because it's out there. There's no reason to deal with it alone. You don't have to announce it on social media or tell your friends or your boyfriend or whatever, but find somebody to be supportive that understands either what you're going through or the psychology behind it. I do think that's really important. Or find a group of like a support group or a self-help group, an Al-Anon group, something where you can learn what you're dealing with. Because in my opinion, there's no way that it can't impact something in their
I would
life.
say, can a child go through this unscathed?
Do we go through any part of it,
Right.
of what our parents, I don't want to say have done, but like they're
Raising, yeah.
Yeah, we're raised by humans. They make mistakes. It impacts us. It can be addiction. It could be depression. It could be anything. It could just be, I didn't have enough money to put you in sports and now I'm really hurt about it. It impacts us in different ways. So no, I don't think we go through our childhood unscathed from any parent.
Right.
But when there's addiction, I think you've got kind of like a double whammy.
Right.
You've got normal stuff and then you have the addiction piece. And so let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's heal from it. Let's learn from it. And let's stop the generational cycle.
Yeah.
Because we can.
Yeah. Like, I didn't go to college, so I don't know. And maybe Trent, like, are there, like, at colleges, are there support groups for other than Al-Anon? Like, do a lot of colleges have
Yes.
support groups for children of addicts?
Yes. I think they're probably they could be through the faith-based organizations. They can be through the faith community. A lot of them are through the college. It just really depends. But are there some out there? Absolutely.
But is that something that we could work on too?
Sure.
Like getting out to the colleges and going, hey, this may be something that, what if they don't want to go the faith-based? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I think
that's what, like, I want to, I say make change, but, I'm not whatever, but that, because I wouldn't have thought of that if I went to college. Like,
no.
you need to find a support group because, I'm just going through life and thinking that I'm going to do great. And I didn't for a while. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but if we're struggling or our kids are struggling or somebody else's kids are like, let's get them help. And college is a great opportunity because that growth period when you leave home, I mean, think about like when you first left home, whether it was college or just because, like, you got to learn a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And it's not easy. So why not get people the help then?
Yeah.
And they're young, like we can impact them.
Right.
I mean, I'd love to get to them way sooner than that.
Right.
But college is a great opportunity. It's a huge growth opportunity for them. Like, holy cow. So our universities and colleges should be looking for it.
Yeah.
And helping.
Yeah.
Or at least putting things out there. And some are really great about it.
So say it's a perfect world and we get and all colleges have the support groups and all elementary, middle, high school. What do you think the outcome looks like? Do you think we would be addiction free or obviously that's not probably possible, but do you think that we would reduce those numbers by so much just by educating the kids and being a support system for them?
I think that we can do a whole lot more prevention. So we can catch them before they fall in the river, but then we're not going to get everybody.
Right.
Because not everybody, some kids are visual. So they're going to learn in a different way and so we got to have messaging for that. And some kids are just going to fall through the cracks.
Right.
So we have to have intervention after the fact. Like, how can we identify these children? How can we get them the support, after they've fallen in the river? How can we pull them out of the river? And then some of them we're going to miss for years down the road. Right. But I'm hoping the more we make people aware of the impacts and the more prevention that we do, the less and less and less that we're going to see. But the problem is that we all have to be on a little bit more of the same page. Yeah. So, for example, we're hearing that the numbers of fatal overdoses have gone down. Amazing, fantastic. But does that mean that the numbers of overdoses that aren't fatal have gone up or have stayed the same? Because those children living in those homes, whether there's a fatality or not a fatality, they're still being impacted. So we're addressing these things up here. The children are down here and they're not getting that support. So we're still missing pieces of the system. So there's still a lot of work to be done. So that education piece, and then what are we doing to provide them with intervention?
Right.
NACoA has a children's program kit, which is it's a kit that has a lot of activities for a school or a faith-based organization to put together a group for children, focusing on, it's not your fault. You're not the only one. You can't cure it. Those kinds of things, the 7 C's. It talks about skill building and those kinds of things. So we can't just prevent it and then identify it. We have to actually do something.
Right.
And so there's a whole gamut of things that we could be doing. We just have to come together as communities to be able to do it.
And I think one of the most like, I think this would be very beneficial, is to educate our officers of the law and EMTs and firefighters, because so they hold a lot of times children idolize them.
Yes.
So how they treat the child, the parent, when they're in, means a lot. Because I didn't hate cops, but I didn't trust them. And many times they would arrest mom and just leave us standing like, bye, see. Like, no one said, are y'all okay? And I feel like that's the minimum that they should be doing. And I know that they have a job to do and they've got reports to make or whatever, but you should not go into a service industry like that without that being like, I want to help people. But they need to be educated on this stuff, and they need to, be able to say the right thing or let the child know, like, hey, it's okay. But I don't feel like, are they educated on that? Like,
So there are places across the country that are.
okay.
But I would say, in my opinion, and I'm just me, we can do better.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not their primary focus.
Yeah.
Is that child. I think the biggest aha moments that I see are when I'm doing a training is from law enforcement, where the light just goes on and they're like, I never thought about it that way.
Yes.
And it changes for them.
Yeah.
But when it changes for them, it changes for those kids from then,
Right.
because they can do it different.
Yeah.
So NACoA does do a lot of law enforcement training.
That's awesome. I love that.
And I love doing those, because just to see anybody, but just to see like a new recruit just graduated from the academy, and they're like, oh my gosh, like,
I never thought of that.
never thought about it that way.
And I never thought of how I react to this is going to impact the children that are watching, or,
Yes.
so on and so forth. We have several cops that come in the shop, and my sister's like, don't ever manhandle someone's parent in front of the child. Like, you can do that behind whatever, but in front of the child, you remain respectful. You need to address the child, because no one ever addressed us or anything. It was just like we called her, and it was like, she's driving without a license. You act like you got caught Bonnie and Clyde. Like, we have her laundry in the back, and I mean, she's not sober, but she ain't wrecked or nothing. Like, but they were just it. And so it always made me feel like I was way beneath law, like, because I felt shamed because mom would get arrested or whatever. And I'm like, do you know how far that could have went if you would have just flipped it and just said, like, hey, are y'all okay? Like, somebody in all of those emergency people that stopped and said, hey. And like, I just feel like it's almost like basic human kind. But I get that.
Yeah.
But if they don't have that background, they don't know.
I know. I feel like they're not data points, they're opportunities. So like, I think they're a lot of people go into law enforcement for a reason. That's your personality. That's like what you want to do, is protect and to serve. And they're not trained on how to talk to children, like getting eye to eye with them and being able to let your guard down and sit on the floor with them. And we're not saying like be unsafe. We're just saying be human. And I understand that they want to be protected and protective for a reason. But I also think like being human is okay too. So when
you have to have a balance, I feel like.
Right. If you got to clear the house and make it safe, great. But assign an officer to that child, or to the 5 children or 12 children that are there, to make sure that they know that they're safe. You're taking care of their parent. It's not ideal. This stinks.
Right.
But somebody's going to help. And then help them get help.
Yeah.
But it's not just law enforcement. It's all of us need to come together, educate each other, and
for sure
do it different.
But I do feel like the EMS, the firefighters, I think that, I mean, obviously they got a job to do, and that's what they're there to do. But yes, take into consideration that their minds are still developing, and you could make a huge difference, even if you can't delegate it to someone else that can, and even if it's the neighbor, like, hey, can you go check on the kids, get the kids, like, I think that's really important. And I think it impacts them way more than you would think it would. I really do.
Just the fact that you remember it and you can talk about it tells me that you're absolutely right. It is impactful.
It's very impactful.
And they could have done it different if they would have known, but we can do it different now.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, we got to get the word out there. And we have a really good sheriff in my hometown.
Yeah.
And I could totally bully him into like, hey, we do.
I love it.
Yeah, he'll fall. I can bully him into it. Yeah, for sure. But like that needs to be some kind of like a little extra training that you're not thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like if you're not impacted by addiction, like how would you know that that's,
Well, and I think that's the other piece of it. If you don't see it all the time and you're not familiar with it and it's not like in the forefront of your mind,
yes,
you're not thinking about it. You're right.
So I think we need to bring it to the forefront of people's minds, and we need to teachers too. I feel like most teachers get that, like that they went to school to teach young kids or whatever, but I feel like some just have no connection with that.
I think it's like a lack of understanding. I think it goes back to they're taught this lane and addiction may be a couple lanes over. Same with law enforcement. This is their lane, but over here is addiction and it impacts that lane.
Yeah.
But they're not sure what to do about it.
Right.
And I think that's teachers. I think it's even our pediatricians, our medical folks, our health department folks. We're just not really good at getting the information out there because it just feels overwhelming.
Right.
But I have to tell you, we just need to.
Yeah. So what time are we meeting tomorrow? So we can start going around to like.
I'm available all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get the PowerPoint ready, sir.
Perfect. I probably have one put together.
Okay.
We're quite good.
You're good. I'm pretty good Vanna White, so I can do the whole like.
Oh, yeah.
Right here is what she's talking about.
Yeah, totally.
I have no education. I only have real life experience, but we definitely need to partner up because
absolutely.
I would love to pick your brain for like so much stuff.
Likewise.
Yeah.
And you can't say that you don't have education. It's just different.
Oh, yes. I say that I'm intelligent. I'm not educated. You know what I mean?
No, you know what? It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
You have things that I don't have. And likewise, and that's what makes the perfect partnership.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
And I want to tell kids, like, I'd hate to sound like I'm clout chasing, but being a child of an addict is your superpower.
Yes.
It's a superpower.
Yes.
Because once you go through it, you understand so much more about, humanity, facial recognition, the signals. It's your superpower. So you have to use that for good. And you're going to actually come out on top before a person who's not, because you already have the awareness, you already have discernment. It's a superpower. It is a horrible way to get your superpower, but you're going to have it. And
use it for good.
It's right. And just know that one day you're going to be grown and you get to make your own decisions. But that you're going to have that. It is a superpower to be a child of an addict. It is not a curse. It's horrible. It's traumatic. There's so many things, but you do come out of it with a superpower. You have so many abilities that other people don't have. And so you have to look at it like that. You have to look at it like it's not just Nick. You have to look at the positivity, and it's your superpower. It really is.
It can either lift you up or bring you down. And that's the choice that we can all make and that they can all make. That let it be your superpower.
Yep.
I love that.
Yes, let it be your superpower, because it's going to be if you use it correctly. Just know that your voice will be heard if you want it, and you could save one person from not having to feel the way you felt or deal with what you've dealt with. And that's all we can hope for, right? Just one person, one person can, yep. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's possible. It's one person.
Yeah.
Let's shoot for that.
Yes. Right. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to meet you.
I love this. The honor is mine.
Yes. And we will have, do you even live around here?
Oh, no.
Okay. Great.
No, it's going to work out great. There are airplanes though that fly right here.
And we have Skype and stuff too. So you can be back on here through Skype. So we can definitely do that. But yeah, I have. And if I get any more information after he cuts the thing off, don't think I won't tell y'all next week, because I will. Because I'm going to share what I learned, because I love learning why we are the way we are and what impacts us to make us be the way we are. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You're in Nashville, or you're in this area to get the word out there?
Yes. We're raising some awareness while we're here. We're actually here attending 2 different conferences.
Okay.
So those
Can
are
you say what conferences they are?
yes. So NCJFCJ. You're gonna ask me what that stands for, and it's late at night. National Council NC. You're gonna have to cut.
So it's
you're gonna have to cut.
Well, like therapists.
Juvenile court
Okay.
judges
Okay.
and court personnel, and then All Rise, which is a large conference that focuses on addiction. It brings a lot of different people together: judges, law enforcement, child welfare, harm reduction, all sorts of folks.
Gotcha. But y'all are educating them, or you're here?
We're here networking and handing out information, educating, sharing. You name it, we're trying to get in front of people. And then just working with folks here in Nashville to raise awareness across the country.
Yeah.
So whether it's social media or a website or just, connecting like this, we're trying to raise awareness and lay the groundwork for Recovery Month, which is in September. So we are doing a huge campaign virtually in September and leading up to it to not only raise funds, but raise awareness about what the impact is and what people can do.
Yes.
Not just in September, but here on out.
Right.
So we'll chat because I think that we could be influential together.
Absolutely. And with the World Wide Web, like obviously we didn't have that when I was a kid. Like I didn't have any resources like, oh, there's this, but we have that now. So if you know someone, you can give them some resources of what she just told you. And that's really helpful too. Like even if they don't use it, to know that it's available it gives you peace of mind as a child. Like I at least know that somebody's out there fighting for me, and somebody out there cares that I'm going through hell right now, and somebody is going to tell me that it's going to be okay. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
NACoA wants to be the voice for children.
Yes.
Because they don't often have
They don't.
they're the unseen and the unheard. So we want to help with that.
Yeah.
So people can go to NACoA.org, NACoA.org, and download resources, look at things. There's a lot of information on the website, and then connect with our social media and reach out
Yes.
to you, to me. Like
Yes.
we'll connect people with
Absolutely.
resources.
Yes. That's amazing.
We'd love to help.
And we need to get the stigma off of how shameful addiction is, and how the children of addicts, like, we're not going to say that because how embarrassing that is, but you wouldn't be embarrassed to say my mom has cancer. You know what I mean? We need to get that stigma out there too, because like that was the most shameful thing, being a child. So I think you're doing God's work, and this is amazing.
We both are. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and share. And let's do some good stuff together. I'm excited.
Me too. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. We'll see y'all next week. And we love y'all. Bye. Oh, Kila's on vacation. We didn't replace her or anything, but we did give her like a warning, or she's on probation. But anyways, no, I was kidding. She'll be back next week, and then we'll probably just shoot the shit again. Okay. We love y'all. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you for staying around for all of our crazy,
Be sure to like, follow, and share with everyone you know.
even them whores you don't like.
And leave us a 5-star review.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, bitches.